Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hi, my name is Krishnan. I'll be doing the Hindu news analysis for the day. These are the 5 articles that will be discussed for the day, and towards the end we'll see previous year questions. So let us move on to the first article. So the first article is about how US and Iran are trying to re-establish their diplomatic ties and how Oman is playing a mediating role. So let us see what this is about. So why it is in news? Because Iran on Monday has said it has continued indirect negotiations with United States. So how it has done indirect negotiations with the help of Sultanate of Oman. So Oman is doing the mediator role. They are doing this negotiations on what? On nuclear deal and prisoner swap. So prisoner swap, you know why they'll do it, they'll have spies or something like that. But nuclear deal, what is this nuclear deal? If you are new to preparation, I'll tell you what this nuclear deal is. We'll see it in depth, because if you want to understand the geopolitics of Middle East, you should understand the Iranian nuclear deal. That we'll see as the slide progresses. Next, what the article says, Iran's nuclear program has long been the subject of scrutiny from Western powers. So Iran has a nuclear program and Western powers do not like it. So that is very obvious, right? Even when India had its nuclear power, Western countries did not like it. So the same thing is happening for Iran. And what they did, whatever they did to India, they did to Iran also. Iran is going through a sanction, that is, no country can have economic relations with Iran. So this has resulted in what? Their economy has crippled. Their economy is not doing well. So what happened in 2015? There was a deal. What is the deal? That is the nuclear deal. We'll see what are the contents of the deal. So in the deal, what they said, Iran should do these things and Western countries will remove sanctions. But what happened in 2018? Trump pulled USA out of that deal. So what happened? So the deal came to an end and Iran again, it got a lot of economic pressures. So before we see, you have a look at this map. You see this is Oman, and what are the places that you should know? You should know Gulf of Oman, Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf. All these are very, very important from the exam point of view. So these 3 points are very important. So and Oman is here. Oman is bordered by Saudi Arabia, UAE and Yemen. So I hope you are able to memorize this map. Next, what the article says, but what the two countries have done, they are telling no, right now we are not focusing on a deal that will replace the 2015 deal. But what they are telling is we are not talking about the 2015 deal, but negotiations are going on. Omani officials are helping us. So they are telling we are very grateful to them. We welcome their efforts, and but we are not talking about the 2015 deal. That is, what is the 2015 deal? That is the 2015 Iranian nuclear deal. They are telling we did not talk about this, but negotiations are going on. And in fact, what the Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson said, see, why are you very bothered about this? Only if the diplomatic process stopped, you should worry about it. But diplomatic process between Iran and USA did not stop at all. Like that, Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson is telling. So what happened? Iran and US, they have a very very difficult, strained relationship. So what happened? Following the 1917 Islamic Revolution, what happened? From 1980, there is no proper relationship between USA and Iran. So in this article, what you'll know, first you'll know about the Islamic Revolution. I'll tell you what is Islamic Revolution in the subsequent slides. So and then we'll see what is the Iranian nuclear deal. So these two important things we'll be seeing in this article. But just have a look at Iran. So this is one of the most important maps. UPSC asks a lot of questions from this map. So you see there's Persian Gulf here and there's Caspian Sea here. And what are the countries bordering Iran? Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Turkey, Armenia and Azerbaijan. So keep this in mind. So Iran's map is very very important, like it is frequently asked by UPSC. Now what does the article says? From 2015 there are efforts to revive the nuclear deal, but so far no results. And who's the supreme leader? So Iran has a leader who is elected by the people, and it has a supreme leader. This supreme leader is clergy. Clergy means priest. Which priest? Islamic priest. So what Iran supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is telling is, he's telling no, we are not moving towards a nuclear weapon. So remove sanctions on us. We'll have a new deal, like that he is telling. So this is what this article is about. But in this article you should know about two things. One is what is the Islamic revolution, and then what is the Iranian nuclear deal. So it all started when what happened, there was a popular democracy movement. And who was the leader of the democracy movement? It was someone called as Mohammad Mossadegh. So what happened in 1951? He became the first democratically elected Iranian government. So who was Mossadegh? He was modern, secular. He was modern, secular leaning, progressive, and he had support of the both secular elite and the Iranian ulama. What is ulama? Religious scholar. So this is a picture from the Iranian revolution. I'll tell you what happened. Now you understood what Mohammad Mossadegh's role is, right? He is a democratically elected leader. But what happened after coming to power? Mossadegh did what? There was something called as British-owned Anglo-Iranian oil company. But what they were doing is they were working in Persian Gulf only, so it belongs to Iran only. No, but what happened? Western powers were exploiting that, and what Mossadegh did, he nationalized it. Once he nationalizes, what will happen? All the money that is coming from extraction of oil will go to Iran only. No. So what British did? British went and told US that see they are doing some these things like nationalizing the oil. So what US did? US put economic sanctions on Iran. So then what happened? This crippled the Iranian economy. Next, what US did? Using Central Intelligence Agency and British agency, they organized the military coup. And because of this military coup, what happened? Mossadegh lost his government. Then what happened? There was someone called as Shah Reza Pahlavi. He was the monarch. He was the monarch of Iran. He was the king of Iran. So after toppling the democratically elected government of Iran, what did this US CIA do? They put this Shah. He was very friendly to the US and Western countries. And what he did, when he returned to power, Anglo-Iranian oil company became British Petroleum. And what happened? 50-50 division of profits between Iran and Western countries. That is British. So what did normal Iranians think about it? This was a bitter humiliation and betrayal, and Muslim world generally thought this is against the Muslims itself. So it sent a message that even if it is a democratically elected government, if it is against US, if it is against Western governments, it will be toppled. Like that, it sent a message. See, this narrative continues to be dominant even now. Even now, Muslim people, Muslim countries think democracy is just a sham for US and only their interest matters the most. Then what happened? Between 1953 and 77, Shah relied heavily on the US. So using that, what he did, he modernized the army, he modernized the Iranian society. So you might have seen pictures, right? Iranian women wearing Western clothes and all. So that and all during Shah times only. So because Iranian economy was also modernized, it brought prosperity, industrialization, and even educational initiatives rose, literacy levels increased. But what happened? Wealth was unequally distributed. So like capitalism, this only will happen. Wealth was unequally distributed. And what happened? Underclass peasants migrated to urban centers, and there was large scale political suppression of dissent. So if someone is against the Shah of Iran, he will be suppressed and oppressed. Then religious scholars, ulama, what they did, they got frightened. They see this Shah of Shah, what is doing is imposing Western lifestyle on Iranians. Like that, they got irritated and they started revolution. So next, see, this is how the revolution started. So Shah's economic policy was not good, and there was resentment of his autocratic style. He was a dictator only, so king only, no. So people did not like his regime. Then what happened? Ayatollah Khomeini. So he was a Shia. Iranians are Shia, right? Shia people. He was a cleric living in Paris. He said, see, this is all happening to Islamic country of Iran, so people only should rise against this tyrant. Who is that tyrant? They are telling Shah of Iran. He is only, his economic policies are also not good, politically he is suppressing, and Western lifestyle also he is imposing, so he should go, like that they did. And what happened? On February 1, 1972, Khomeini returned to Iran. So once he came, what happened? Shah was sent off to US and people got back the power, but the power of Iran is still with the clergy only. So Ayatollah Khomeini only is the leader of Iran even till now. So what was the impact of the revolution? The revolution was a watershed event because it did not change Iran alone. It had far-reaching consequences for the entire world. What happened? Cold War was going on, and during Cold War, Iran was supporting US, but what happened? It now became enemy. And see, this Iranian revolution, it changed the Middle East politics also. What happened? Because Iran became very powerful, and Iran Saudi Arabia problem started because Iran also wanted to be the leader of Muslim world, and Saudi Arabia also wanted to be the leader of Muslim world, so they both clashed. So now if we have to tell if the revolution was a success or not, let's see what it has to say. So from the perspective of longevity, yes, it has succeeded because it started in 1980 and it's 2023. For 43 years it has sustained, and it sustained the 8-year Iran-Iraq war also. And even even Taliban wanted an Islamic state, right? That was not possible for a very long time because USA dethroned them. But this was in 1998 to 2003-4, like that. And next, what Khomeini and his supporters promised to end gap between rich and poor, but see, oil revenues are there, but Iranian economy is still poor in shape only. And what is the situation in Iran? Unemployment rates are very high, and hyperinflation is also very high. People say they have very little hope for economic fortunes to turn. So next, has Islamic revolution made the country very religious? No. What statistics tell is, even though 63% of Iranians were born after the revolution, they are not religious at all. Iranians are not religious. And but even still, a lot of people still support the current regime. A lot of Iranians want more freedom, and they don't want religion to be forced on them. And Iran is in the news, they want removal of hijab and economic reforms. A lot of protests going on in Iran. So what are they asking? They are asking for economic, social and political reforms, and they are telling you end the Islamic Republic and make this country secular. We don't want to be an Islamic Republic, like that they are telling. So this never ending UN sanctions, the Iranians are telling always Iran is under sanctions. They are telling this is because of the Islamic revolution only. And even though Iran trades with European powers, China, Russia and India, Iran thinks West is against Iran, so they will not allow us to succeed, like that Iran thinks. Next, we will see what is the Iran nuclear deal. This is also very, very important. So what is the 2015 Iran nuclear deal? So the 2015 European Iran nuclear deal is called Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. It is called JCPOA. So it is negotiation between Iran and P5+1. So P5 is 5 veto countries. That one is Germany. Germany also was part of this. So this deal was against Iran developing nuclear weapons. So under this deal, Iran agreed to cut its centrifuges. It accepted to cut its enriched uranium, heavy water. So all these things they accepted. And next, what they did, they agreed to implement a protocol. What is that protocol? International Atomic Energy Agency people will come and check its nuclear sites, and they should allow it. They'll ensure that nothing, they are not having any weapon. So just have a look at this map. There are very important places. This Natanz is very important. See this Natanz, this is very important because it is the Iran's only uranium enrichment plant. And this place Bandar Abbas, this is also very important because here only India's port is going to come. What is India's port? So that port will come here only. So next, even though US and the West agreed to lift restrictions because of Iran's nuclear proliferation, but there are other problems with Iran. Human rights violation are there, and Iran has got ballistic missiles. So that problem also Western countries are telling your ballistic missile also is a problem. Next, what they told, US told, see, you are having all these problems, so what we'll do, we lift sanctions on exports, but other financial transactions and all will still have it because your human rights violations are very bad and your ballistic missile program is quite dangerous. Next, but even though restrictions were in place, Once the sanctions were reduced, what happened? Suddenly they were allowed to do oil exports, no? So their exports skyrocketed. So they were doing good, but what happened? Israel is very important player in Middle East. No, it is America's closest ally also, and Saudi Arabia. All these people, they are telling no, this deal is not good. We'll have to rein in on Iran, and see, they have a nuclear program, they have ballistic program. All these things are very bad. So again, what happened? So Trump, listening to Israel and Saudi Arabia, what he said, he abandoned the deal and he reinstated the banking and oil sanctions. So Iran also got pissed off and they said we'll also start doing a nuclear program, and they have gone back to 97% of the pre 2015 nuclear capabilities. So this is what JCPOA is about. Now let us see what are the challenges to JCPOA. So what are the challenges? Saudi Arabia and Iran has Cold War, that is a major hurdle, and even Iran and Israel conflict. So Israeli people are Jewish people, and Iran doesn't like Israel because of Palestinian problem. So USA and Saudi Arabia are very close now. They are doing this to counter Iran. And the traditional Shia Sunni conflict, you all know about it. Shias don't like Sunni and Sunnis don't like Shia, and there is a problem because both of them are not coming to a common ground. So peace has become elusive. Next, what? Because Iran's sanctions were put again by US, Iran is violating other commitments. So there are limits on stockpiles of enriched uranium. They're telling no, don't enrich uranium, but Iran is doing it. So they are also going forward, and it is very difficult to negotiate again. But what Iran is telling, see, you are putting sanctions on us, we are coming for negotiation, but again you are pulling out of it, and because of that we are having lot of economic losses. Because of that we are having lot of economic losses. So if you do like this, we will also do like that only, like that Iran is telling. So what did you understand from this article? So you should have known Islamic Revolution and this JCPOA. So this is what this article was about. Now let us move on to the next article. This article is about space partnership between ISRO and Norway. So what happened on November 20, 1997? Rohini RH-MK2. So see, this is the Rohini series, and this rocket was used for a Norway mission. So what happened on November 20, 1997? Rohini RH 300, sorry, not 200, 300 MK2 sounding rocket rose to the skies from Svalbard. So where is Svalbard? Svalbard is in Norway. So this they might ask. So keep in mind, Svalbard is in Norway. And what happened? ISRO got a new rocket launching range from Norway. So this Rohini RH-300 MK2 is a solid propellant powered rocket. So this was shipped from India to Norway, and 4 scientists from ISRO went with the ship to make sure the launch was launched by ISRO for Norway went alright. So how did this all start? The result to deepen space sector friendship between India and Norway. How did it start? It started by Norwegian ambassador Hans Jakob. So he came to ISRO headquarters last week, and he was reminiscing the challenging mission which took place 26 years ago at Ny-Ålesund in Svalbard. So from Svalbard, ISRO's rocket was launched, and he is telling this is a very challenging mission. So what happened? The Rohini RH-300 MK2 was given a new space by Norwegians. What was it called? It was called Isborn 1. So what does Isborn mean? It generally means Polar Bear 1. So what ISRO veterans like Manoranjan and Radhakrishnan are telling is, if Indians like Bengal tigers, Norwegians like polar bear, so they named their mission as Polar Bear. And so what happened? First, US made Nike Apache sounding rocket. So it lifted from Tumba in 1963, and this launched the Indian space program. And from this, what is happening? Indian space scientists have been flying sounding rockets for upper atmospheric studies. So this Rohini 3 and RH-300 MK2 was part of Rohini family of sounding rockets. It was developed by ISRO's Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in Thiruvananthapuram. So you can have a look at this entire range of rockets. So this was developed in Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in Thiruvananthapuram. So how did India get this project? It was backed by Antrix Corporation. So what is Antrix? It is the commercial arm of ISRO. So there was a global tender floated by Norway, and they wanted to do this mission to study upper atmosphere, and for that they chose Rohini, that is Rohini 300 Mk2. So but what are the challenges did ISRO face? So on the technical side, it had a lot of unique challenges because Rohini rockets had till then flown only in tropical hot and humid conditions. But this Svalbard archipelago, right, it is in Arctic Ocean and temperatures were very low. So this is a very challenging situation, right? So but ISRO was prepared for all this because initially they had shipped RH300 Mk2 to Norway after qualifying it for Arctic weather conditions only. So finally what happened? It was lifted off at 11:07 in the night on November 1997. But what unfortunately what happened? The rocket did not achieve the predicted height. So it rose only 71 kilometers. The reason was very strange because the rocket was supposed to be at 18 degrees Celsius. So what they did, they covered it with a velostat shroud. So shroud means it is something that you cover a rocket with. So I mean not just rocket, any object. So they had covered it with a velostat shroud. So so what they thought, this rocket will pierce through this cover, but what happened, the rocket dragged it along, and the increased drag resulted in lower altitude. I hope you are able to imagine this. But what happened, the Norwegian scientists were happy with their launch because they were able to collect a lot of details during Rohini Mk2's flight. So finally this is what the scientists tell, well, this is space science. So you plan something and something else happens. So they are telling, see, well, this is space science. So this is in a book called A Brief History of Rocketry in ISRO. And this Svalbard, because of this Svalbard mission only, a new era of cooperation started between India and Norway. And so why is in news? Because last week Ambassador Fredulent and officials from Kongsberg satellite service met ISRO chairperson Somnath, and they said there was mutual agreement on the importance of maintaining continued partnership and fostering increased engagements between India and Norway in the field of space exploration and technology. So where was the seed for all these were sown? This was sown in the Svalbard mission only. Okay, so this is what this article is about. Now let us move on to the next article. This article is about MSP, that is minimum support price, and how it will help farmers. So why is it in news? Because last week the center announced that the minimum support price for this year's summer season crops. What is summer season crop? Kharif crops. So it is going to hike its prices from somewhere around 5 to 10% from last season. So what this will do? This will ensure good price for farmers, and it will also encourage crop diversification. So what is crop diversification? Farmers, instead of just growing rice and wheat, they'll grow other crops like millets, pulses and so on. But what happened, one section of farmers and their representatives, they are not happy with this because they are telling this is just a meager hike, and they are telling this is not a remunerative price. On the other hand, what agricultural experts, agricultural scientists, what they are telling, the increase in MSP is a good thing only, but there is absence of assured mechanism for procurement purchase for crops on MSP. So whatever crops that are there in the MSP, there is no assured market. That is, even if farmers grow it and even if MSP is set for those crops, there are no assured market. There is no assured market for that MSP. So if this is the case, then what will happen? Then the purpose of crop diversification will not happen at all, like that agricultural experts and professors are telling. So how does the MSP work? So what is MSP? We saw this article, we saw something related to this last week. I hope you are able to recollect it. but we'll see it again. The MSP is a part of the government's agricultural price policy. So what is it? This is the price at which government will buy farmers their produce. So below this price government will not buy. Let's say it is 800 rupees for 1 kg. Below that government will not buy. Above it you can buy, but 800 rupees is the minimum support price. So what this will do? This will stabilize production and it will control consumer prices. But there are still some problems. Even after announcing MSP, there are some problems for farmers. What are these? There is delay in establishing procurement centers. Where will farmers go and where will the government come and procure? So there is delay in establishing these centers, and commission agents are exploiting. And how are they exploiting? Most of the time they'll buy from the farmers below MSP, and most of the farmers do not know about MSP. So these are the problems. So what farmers are doing? They are telling give legal status to MSP. That is, you enact a law and tell MSP as a legal status. So what this will do? So farmers are telling if you give legal status to MSP, this will lead to a assured market mechanism, like that farmers are telling. That is, other than rice and paddy, even if you grow some other crops, there will be market for it. We can sell it at a proper price, not below MSP, like that they are telling. So this is what this means. So what they are telling, the MSP has little meaning unless farmers produce is procured or purchased at the assured price. So this is what they are telling. So they are telling to give a legal status. So we'll see what was the government's announcement. On June 7th, the government announced that 17 kharif crops like paddy, pulses, oil seeds will be eligible for MSP. So which this was approved by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Who heads it? The Prime Minister heads it. So this MSP rise is in line with the Union Budget of 2018-19, which said the MSP will be at least 1.5 times the all India weighted average cost of production. So what is it? If 100 rupees is the cost of production, 150 rupees will be paid to the farmers. So what is the main aim? The aim is to give reasonable remuneration for farmers. Even the food minister has said this increase in MSP of kharif crop for this year is the highest compared to previous years. So why are farmers worried? Farmers are worried because they are telling, food minister is telling this is the highest, but farmers are telling this is insufficient. Even the All India Kisan Sabha is telling it is unfair. It belies the hope of farmers and inflicts huge losses in their incomes. So finally what they are telling, see, input costs also have risen and MSP rate is also unfair. So what will happen? So in India there are a lot of farmers. What type of farmers? They are small, marginal and middle level farmers. If input costs also rising and MSP is also very low, what will happen? Lot of them will become indebted. And see, tenants, lot of farmers are tenants also. Tenants means they'll not own the land, they will get the land on lease and then they'll work on it. So that is tenants. So what is the government's promise? That is, they will implement Swaminathan Commission recommendation of the C2 plus 50. C2 means comprehensive cost of production. So unpaid family labor, electricity cost, input cost, machinery, fertilizer, everything together comes under C2. So whatever is the cost according to C2 plus 50% is what farmers are asking, and this is Swaminathan Commission's recommendation also. And you see, Bharatiya Kisan Union, it is one of the largest farmer unions in Punjab. So even they are against this MSP hike, saying this 1.5 times the cost of production on crops, it does not provide proper remunerative price. They are telling 1.5 times the price of crops you don't give us. You give us C2 plus 50. This is what we are asking for. So this 1.5 times the cost of production is just an eyewash, like that this Bharatiya Kisan Union is telling. So it's telling you give us Swaminathan Commission formula C2 plus 50, that you give. So next they are telling make MSP a statutory right. What do they mean by statutory right? You make it an act and tell below this farmers cannot below this others cannot buy these crops from farmers. So let's say something is 50 rupees according to MSP. What these agents and private players will do, they'll come and buy it for 40 rupees. But if MSP is a statutory right, what will happen? They cannot go below 50. So farmers are telling you make it statutory, then only we'll have assurance for our crops that this will not go below MSP. So what are agricultural experts telling? they are telling only 3-4 crops. What are those 3-4 crops? Wheat, paddy, cotton and sometimes pulses. Only these are being bought in MSP and other crops are going below MSP. So it's telling this is why farmers are asking for legal status. So if legal status is not given to MSP, what will happen? Farmers are left at the mercy of market and private players. So whatever price private players are giving, for that only farmers should buy. So finally what this expert is telling non-implementation of MSP and below MSP procurement is the reason why crop diversification is not happening in India. This crop diversification is very important both for Indian agriculture and for environment. But if you are growing other crops, you are not getting MSP, getting proper MSP only for wheat and rice. So we will grow that only, like that farmers are telling. This agriculture expert is telling this should change. And what are the other problems farmers have? Ineffective implementation of MSP, non-procurement of all the crops and MSP. So they'll tell Niger crop is there for procurement under MSP, but they will not procure it. So things like this are happening. So they are telling only things like this are giving a very strong rationale for giving legal status to MSP. So they are telling, we are not telling government to buy all our produce at MSP, but if you give statutory status to MSP, then what will happen? Let's say we are selling something for 100 rupees and the MSP is 100 rupees, private players are buying it from us for 20-30 rupees and all. So if 100 rupees is the statutory market, they cannot buy below it, right? So farmers are asking for it. So they are telling, if you do this, crop diversification will also happen, farmers income will also rise, like that they are telling. So what is the food grain status of the country? It is fine only. So earlier it was 3, so food grain has increased, so higher by 14.9 million tons it has increased. So this is the highest in the last 5 years. So 555.34 lakh tons are there compared to, 265 is rice and 290 is wheat. And one professor is telling, if monsoon is delayed, this would impact cropping pattern in non-irrigated regions. So that is a characteristic trait of Indian monsoon, Indian cropping pattern. And next is telling around 51% area in the country is rain fed. So if rains are delayed, some impact is bound to be seen. Next what they are telling is, even though all these things are there, the country's food grain stocks are at a comfortable level, so you don't worry about anything. So what lies ahead? So MSP attempts to strike balance between the interest of growers and consumers. So we need to give fair return to farmers while keeping in view the interest of consumers, because food inflation should not go up and commodities price should be kept at reasonable level. So see, over the years, farming for small and marginal farmers has not turned out to be very remunerative. So they are hoping this will change. So the authors are telling only a rise in income could be a long-term answer for farmers' financial distress. Next, finally what they are telling, to raise income, what you should do, you set up an effective system to provide assured purchase and return to farmers for all major crops at MSP, as it is done in the case of wheat and rice. Or they are telling, or you extend subsidies on input cost. So to increase the farmers' income, what you do, you give assured purchase of their produce, or you, because input cost is increasing, what you do, you give subsidy for input cost. So you either do 2 of these things, because farmers are really under financial stress, like that the authors of this article are telling. I hope you understood this. Now let us move on to the next article. This article is about same-sex marriage, that is homosexual marriage, and it is arguing whether we should see it from morality point of view or equality point of view. So why is this news? Because world's leading philosopher Michael Sandel was in India, and a lot of questions regarding this was posed to him. Now let us see what his arguments are. So in the court, the case is going on. So arguments based on liberalism were put forward in the Supreme Court, and Michael Sandel is a critic of contemporary liberalism, because he criticizes because he says the issue of same-sex marriage cannot be put within liberal framework of individual rights. He is telling liberalism will not give you that framework. Next, they are telling, can the court adjudicate on the right to marry based on neutrality or moral question, or should it talk about desirability of marriage? So they are telling the court should be neutral about all these things. This neutrality is mandated by its jurisprudence on equal consent for all, irrespective of social or personal morality. So this gives way for constitutional morality, and the Supreme Court is using this only to maintain neutrality on moral issues. So, but following this neutrality should mean what? The court should protect people same, right? So the court is taking different approach for people in living relationships, and the court is taking a different view on people in same-sex marriage. So it's telling the court should give legal protection irrespective of what the society thinks, what the society's moral view. That is should not be important for the court. It should take a neutral view. So should marriage be based on equality? They are telling if marriage is based on equality, it is like recognizing marriage as a social honor and pronouncing on its moral worth. So this would violate the liberal tenet of neutrality. So even someone like an ardent votary of same-sex marriage like Martha Nussbaum, she says state should not intervene in these things. State intervention in marriage, in the matter of marriage, is only the second best option, which means she's telling state should not intervene. So she's telling so long as the state is in marrying business, concerns with equality require it to offer marriage to same-sex couple. But she's telling it would be a lot better as a matter of fact for both political theory and public policy if the state is withdrawing from the marrying business. So they're telling the idea that the state should be neutral to moral concerns about institutions like marriage is what Sandel calls bracketing of moral issues. What is bracketing of moral issues? Human ability to detach oneself from his or her stories or social and historical role and statuses. So should we focus on equality or privacy? If social and economic rights are required as a matter of equal respect for persons, the question remains why these persons have a claim on my concerns that others do not. So in other words, you can say this: citizens who see and value marriage as a heterosexual institution would be asked to recognize same-sex marriages through their state of course, not as a matter of understanding but as a duty we owe to strangers. So they are telling heterosexual people should see this as a matter of shared understanding, but they're just seeing as a duty we owe to strangers. So on the other hand, would this be based on intrinsic value or social importance of the practice? Then what will happen? This will lead to fundamentalist tendencies. So should the court be able to decide on resolving all these moral issues in society? There's an example. So Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court's decision in Goodrich versus Department of Public Health, when it legalized same-sex marriage, it said a very important thing. So marriage not just grounds on equality and freedom of choice, but by virtues of marriage. So in American context, the court only had to choose between whether marriage is about procreation or loving relationships. They are telling don't see marriage, equality, privacy, morality, those things. They are saying see marriage if it is only about procreation or loving relationship, companionship, those things only you see like that. They are telling. So but in India, the significance of marriage is, who see marriage from a traditional term, is much more than both. So see, the Kolkata High Court in 1901 said it is a union of flesh with flesh, bone with bone. It is a sacred tie and subsists even after death. So this is more than procreation or loving relationship, right? So it just goes beyond it. So next they are telling citizens initiative only should take all these issues forward. So they are telling liberal court is imposing decisions on public. That will not be the right way. It will backfire also. The most radical and ultimately sustainable change which came for gay rights came from ad hoc citizen assemblies and pressure citizens initiative, means pressure groups which had citizens itself. So in the Indian perspective, historically Indian society does not have hate or disgust for homosexuals, because Hinduism itself does not see gender in a binary way. So that is why when homosexuality was decriminalized, there were no social rumblings. It only reflected the society's shared values. But is the Indian society ready to accept homosexual marriage? So they are telling we have to think like Western societies, because the author is asking, can we think about marriage like Western societies? Because for them marriage is just romantic love or companionship. So the author is asking, can the honorific value of marriage be sustained without heterosexual couples? So ideally the question should be answered by citizens assemblies or citizens initiatives that is happening in Ireland or Finland. So in India also we can also do this, we can look for equivalence. So Gandhi's little republics could be a starting point, like that the author is telling. Now let us move on to the next topic. This topic is about Betelgeuse. It's a star. It's the brightest. It is a bright red giant star. So a research says it will blow up. So let us see what this article is about. So the bright red star is called Betelgeuse. So in Tamil it is called Tiruvadirai, or in Sanskrit it is called Arudra. So it is easily spotted in the constellation Orion. So what happened recently, researchers examined its pulsation. So what is pulsation? It is the periodic contraction and expansion of the star. And researchers from Japan and Switzerland are claiming that the star is in its late carbon burning stage. So this is the last stage. So what they are telling, in massive stars like Betelgeuse, the carbon burning stage lasts only up to a few hundreds of years, after which the star dies and collapses into a supernova within a few months. So they are telling, in humans, how slow or abnormal heartbeats indicate a possible blockage of the heart. This carbon burning stage is also like that only. So researchers say Betelgeuse observed pulsation matches theoretical estimates of a late carbon burning stage, suggesting that the star is in its deathbed, that is, it is going to die. So from the pulsation period, they are telling we can come to a conclusion. We can infer the radius of the pulsating object. So from the calculated radius, luminosity and the mass of Betelgeuse, the researchers have come to a conclusion that it is at the late stage of core carbon burning. So they are telling this is going to die. So but it is disputed. So all this controversy started with the work of Nandal. So after this paper came about, social media went buzzing. So there's another rival team led by Dr. Molnar and Joyce. So they said this is not true. They said Betelgeuse assumed radius is 1300 solar radii is too high, and studies so far indicated it is only 600 to 1000 solar radii. So how far away and how large Betelgeuse is a matter of dispute even among astronomers. So estimates of a distance range from 550 to 730 light years, and its estimated luminosity is also 9000 to 1,50,000 times that of the sun, that is its luminosity. While team led by Mr. Nandal estimated the distance of Betelgeuse to be 730 light years, Dr. Joyce and her team pegged it around 550 light years. So the distance assumptions affect the luminosity, and therefore the predictions of Devesh Nandal and his team. So this is what others are telling. So they are telling this Betelgeuse is a good candidate for core collapse supernova, that like that they are telling. So they are telling this paper is interesting, but the result is quite model dependent. They are telling this is not what they know for sure. This is a model dependent. So they are telling this is an overstretch, that this supernova is going to happen in a few tens of years. So what they are finally telling is there is no dispute that Betelgeuse is fated to explode into a supernova, but the only question is when. So this is what this article is about. Let us move on to previous year questions. So leaf modification occurs in desert areas. What will leaf do to inhibit water loss? Hard and waxy leaves, tiny leaves or no leaves, thorns instead of leaves. So the answer is D, all three. Economic growth in a country X will necessarily have to occur if, so all these options you should read, and necessarily, see the word necessarily is there. So there should be capital formation. If there is capital formation, definitely there will be growth. To obtain full benefits of demographic dividend, what should India do? Promote skill development. Other options are absurd. So it should promote skill development, because the question is about demographic dividend. What would you do with young people? So you give them, you skill them. So who was Annie Besant? She was responsible for starting the Home Rule movement. Yes, she was. Was she the founder of Theosophical Society? No, she wasn't. It was Alcott and Madame Blavatsky. Once the president of Indian National Congress? Yes, that's right. So option 3 is right, 1 is right, 2 is wrong. So the answer is C, 1 and 3. So that's all for the day. If you've liked it, share it among your friends, subscribe it, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Telegram and Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again tomorrow.